It is probably the best time to be a Resident Evil fan. Over the past 8 years or so, the series has received many fantastic new games that match the quality of the original ones, not to mention the remakes as well. Every new fan and old fan of the series who wants to relive their childhood memories coated in a fresh paint can find something for themselves. But what about those Resident Evil or survival horror fans who prefer the old school style? Fixed camera angles, tank controls, resource management. If you are sharp-eyed, even though not under the Resident Evil IP, you can find indie games with this style. Classic survival horror is experiencing a true renaissance in the recent years as well. I have showcased several upcoming and already released games on my channel, but the next one is completely stunned me. There are some of the most authentic PS1 style title with classic Resident Evil gameplay. And it's none other than...
Phase Zero.
The year is 1994, the place is Flint Peak. We wake up in a hospital bed surrounded by nurses and doctors. In a strange state, to say the least, seemingly very interested in our condition. We take this as a threat and, in a full action hero style, attack them and escape through the window. It's snowing outside, maybe it's just early snow and this is a Halloween party? We don't really care and risk our life by climbing around the building's ledge. Then suddenly, a soldier paints red the hospital glass behind us, almost hitting us too, clearly signaling this is no Halloween party. We enter a room through the next window and witness the slowest shotgun reload in human history. We don't really mind, we gratefully accept the gifted weapon. By the way, rarely does a survival horror game hand you a shotgun right away. But I'm not complaining, as it works like a charm. Every control mechanic is in place, you need D-pad for tank controls, there is quick turn, fixed camera and an inventory screen. Let's just move on. In the corridor, we push a hospital bed aside, a recurring mechanic in the game. Kudos to the developers for integrating tutorials into actual gameplay rather just giving us notes on the controls. In the next room, we can further test the effectiveness of our shotgun and find a keycard. What could this be for? Not long we have to wait to find out, we use it right away on the door at the end of the hallway. Another great example of the game teaching you either figuring out that a key item you find you need to use it somewhere, or a locked door you find you require a specific key item to open it. Next, we meet someone on the hospital phone who seems friendly, but we are unsure whether to trust him or not. He is wearing a hazmat suit, so maybe he's here to contain an infection, or maybe he caused it. This is clearly a save room, given the melancholic yet warm soundtrack similar to Resident Evil. However, we find no save point, only a first aid kit that heals us infinitely. But if we pay close attention, a snowflake appears in the top right corner of the screen when entering or leaving the room, indicating an autosave. Honestly, I didn't even notice this at first because I was just playing in full Resident Evil instinct. But as we continue, I realize that almost everything can be examined and our main character has something to say about each section of the locations. Excellent classic Resident Evil style visual storytelling. We finally reach the stairwell and our goal is clear, escape through the ground floor. The pediatric door on the next floor is locked, so we head down to the first floor. But on the ground floor a shutter blocks our way and we need a crank to open it. Time to explore the operation block. The X-ray control room opens with our keycard. We find a document explaining the X-ray system and a running computer. I admit, I did not read the documentation carefully, I just fiddled with the settings until the indicators for contrast, saturation and penetration show the status fine. To our surprise, the X-ray reveals something inside the patient on the exam table, or whatever that thing's supposed to be. But the point is the crank we need is inside it. But how to get it out? The game hints that the bed is also missing a wheel. By the way, the reason I don't call our character by his name because he's only labeled as Guy in the inventory screen. He has no name really. Presumably he has amnesia. But let's find that wheel. All the doors in the operation block corridor are locked, but behind them shadowy figures and danger clearly awaits. This hallway reminds me of the cell block in Resident Evil 2, where tons of zombies burst out as you try to escape. Fortunately, the restroom is open and we find some free ammo and healing item on a fallen soldier. Thank you, dear sir, for your service. We reach the MRI room at last, and here is a brilliant homage to Resident Evil Code Veronica. All our metal items stick to the machine suddenly as we try to pass by. And if you're observant, you also notice the missing wheel is also attached to the MRI machine. So our goal is clear, we need to shut down the machine somehow first. Play a bit of a cat and mouse with the doctor in the control room next to the MRI as we don't have any weapons, then easily turn off the machine via the computer. This gives us back our weapons and the wheel. Also a cool detail, if you don't equip your shotgun, your character carries it on his back. Awesome touch. Though who knows where he hides the healing item, ID card and the wheel. Anyways, let's head back to the X-ray room and let's attach the wheel to that bed. I assume the MRI will rip out the crank from the creature eventually. Also, I discover we have a map system, and on top we can collect map pieces on each floor, complete with evacuation plans as guidance by the game on where to go. This reminds me of Silent Hill's map system. Closed and open doors, areas explored are marked, and items locations are tracked as well on it. We finally roll the patient towards the MRI, or try to. Naturally, at our most vulnerable moment, all locked doors burst open and the staff welcomes us with open arms. We barely make it through, but manage to activate the MRI again using the control room's computer after thanking the doctor's service. The computer interface basically is a puzzle, but only unsolvable if you're too honest with your answers to the computer's questions. We basically destroy the MRI, paint the window red, and retrieve the crank. Heading back to the corridor, we decide to clear out the remaining staff with bullets instead of running. Plenty of ammo and healing supplies are around, thankfully, to refill our inventory.
And now, a short commercial break.
I can't believe this. Listen to me. We're doing this together. I need you. I need you.
We manage to open the shutter, reach the first floor and the reception area. The green exit sign offers a glimpse of hope. But we also spot a way down to the basement. Should we check it out? Yeah. No, bad idea. The place is a hellish nightmare. No thank you. The reception basically is another save room, but the hallway to the entrance is barricaded. In the only open room nearby, we talk again to our hazmat friend who finally introduces himself as Alex. Not that we can return the gesture, he probably thinks we are a-holes. He can't help us much right now, so we are on our own again basically. Through the window we catch a glimpse of the snowy streets of Flint Peak and the strange reddish substance creeping up the hospital wall. Odd. But maybe it's nothing. On the notice board we see a picture of the staff, most of whom we probably already taken down, and the number 91 at the bottom. Might that be important? Spoiler, yes. To open the nearby door we need both the ID card and a 4-digit code, probably ending in 91. Well, 1991 does not work. So another phone call. We ask Alex for help. Thankfully he knows the beginning of the code and gives us a tip to find the rest on the notice board. So the code is 3891. We end up in a locker room, and just like in Resident Evil, even the pre-rendered background hides resources. We loot some supplies and also manage to change clothes. Don't want to leave in our underwear, especially in winter time, right? But more importantly, we find a secret door inside the locker. What the heck? A service tunnel and a descending ladder? And we are once again surrounded by that red substance we seen on the hospital wall. So it does mean something. Unfortunately, the ladder ends, so we must take a risk and jump. No way back now. Down there, it's like descending into hell. It's like the insides of a living being. Disturbing and disgusting yet amusing. This fits more like H.R. Geiger's nightmarish art than any Resident Evil game I have seen. And we are not alone. From one of the pulsating things on the wall, a spider-like creature claws out, then another. Thank God they are no match for our shotgun. But there is more of these things, so we better keep moving. We squeeze through what looks like intestines, just hoping for this is the way out. After some truly disgusting moments, the environment becomes more clean and leads to an elevator. A bed blocks the elevator door with another blob-like creature on it. We stuff it into the elevator and head up to the first floor. But suddenly the light starts to flicker inside. The game teases a scare. But no, it's just a fake out. Upon reaching the first floor, we found ourselves on the other side of the barricade, and now only a few doors stand between us and the exit. In the examination room, we come across a newspaper article stating that beneath the hospital lies a crypt that had been sealed for centuries, and which recently got opened up. So in some way this might be the root cause of everything. In the same room, we find corpses, but they are different. They are not zombies, nor those blob-like creatures we've seen before. One in particular is deeply unsettling. The victim seems to have died sitting upright on the bed, perhaps during an examination or while trying to get up to use the bathroom. Their back and skull are completely split open, like the cocoon of a caterpillar after the butterfly has already emerged. What a way to go. Exiting the room, we finally reach the exit door. Through a nearby window, our friend Alex pounds on the window joyfully, clearly happy to see us. Truthfully, the fact that we never introduced ourselves to him probably made us seem like jerks. And let's face it, we kind of are, because we just leave the guy behind in the hospital. Stepping out onto the streets, we greeted by a city that looks like it's been hit by a disaster. And it's not any safe out there. The infected are present here too. First we see one, then a few more, and then even more. The city's main street is swarming with them, and that's where the demo ends. Even though it's just a demo, an extras menu unlocks afterward with some additions. We can replay the demo with a different character model, for example. There is also a gallery mode where we can view the 3D models of the characters from the demo, very much like in modern Resident Evil fashion. Phase Zero perfectly captures the atmosphere and gameplay of PlayStation 1 era Resident Evil titles. I don't think I've ever encountered an indie game that so precisely recreates this experience. Honestly, this could easily be set in Raccoon City's hospital, complete with classic Resident Evil monsters. The controls are incredibly smooth, with tank controls in mind of course. The zombie models are varied, and there are plenty of enemies in the game, and there are additional monsters present as well. The environments are stunning, huge respect to the developers for using pre-rendered backgrounds instead of basic 3D ones. Or at least a highly convincing illusion of them. I'm not an expert. But if we are speaking about the environment, the dynamic pre-rendered backgrounds, especially in the basement, are absolutely stunning. Chef's kiss. The game includes inventory management, limited resources, and features a chilling but soothing soundtrack at the same time. It feels almost like a one-to-one Resident Evil clone. Maybe two things are missing, which you could consider negatives if you really want to nitpick. There is no sign of limited save points or save items, and no storage stash in the save room are present. But honestly, as much as it hurts, I can still live with the absence of these, as the rest of the features are so authentic Resident Evil. There is no release date listed on the Steam page yet, but I seriously hope this game makes it to full release, especially since the full version will include 2 playable characters. If you're a fan of classic Resident Evil, I can recommend this 100%. But of course, try the demo for yourself and be the judge of it. I was Gabe, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep gaming.